I think that's just going to be huge for them, preserving the runs because the Phillies, the runs come in bunches. So I think this is going to be huge for the success of the Phillies. And I really do think they could be World Series bound, just like Adam said. Who's going to stop us? Maybe a certain team from Arizona, but they might not even make the playoffs, so we will see.
I listen, I'm going to be honest with you. I think the only person that stops us is ourselves. I've been saying that all year. We are our worst enemy, okay? I mean, this team is built for the postseason. This team is built to win the World Series. If they don't do it, it's nobody's blame except themselves. They beat themselves. Nobody is going to beat this team if they're all in their A game. Nobody. Nobody's going to have a better 1, 2, 3 if those 1, 2, 3 are all in their A game. And I don't worry about Zach Wheeler. I don't. I listen, I know Nola pitched great, but I always going to have in the back of my mind, is it going to be Nola with a bad inning, right? Ranger Suarez, is he dealing with that arm? Is he dealing like he doesn't have the velo? Christopher Sanchez, he's having some control issues the last 3 or 4 starts. So, but that's my I shouldn't say problem, but that's my point, is if all those guys together are going to fall off a cliff, then we're going to be in trouble. But if they're healthy and they're legitimate, man, nobody's stopping us, man. Nobody.
No, you said it perfectly. If everybody on this team is playing at their best, there's no better lineup in the MLB right now. So, especially with Wheeler and Nola, a huge reason as to why the Phillies advanced in 2022, because the Cardinals just could not hit Nola or Wheeler. So, if the pitching is on point, and I think if the offense is at least half decent, then I don't see a world where the Phillies aren't World Series champions.
I'll tell you, man, that sounds nice, man. World Series champions, bro. That sounds nice. Shout out. Thanks, Adam. I appreciate it. Listen, bro, like, honestly, this isn't just about me. This isn't just about Frank. This is about everybody, bro. Like, Adam driving an hour to come see us live. I mean, like, things of that. I remember that stuff, man. I got to say something, because a lot of people, they don't understand. And I like to say this, and I mean this very respectfully, okay? You do not have to be on the dial to make things happen. I respect the hell out of some of the people on the dial. It's not a disrespect to them. What I was saying is, people think that's the end-all, be-all, right? They really do. And they all think it's about followers and likes and views. My phone has not stopped blowing up by people who aren't even on social media. So when people want to, this dude's got only 4 people like this post, or 3 people, it doesn't mean anything. Bro, you're living in a digital friggin' fantasy. It's all about who you keep close to you. It's about guys that really want to, and girls for that matter, who want to support you. So this is a long time coming, man. It's a long time, and it's just the beginning. I'm gonna tell you that right now. It's just the beginning. I want to give a shout out to I'm not gonna say their name yet, because it's a podcast that is going to be joining us on October 1st. They already have they are the Pat McAfee of Philly. I'm telling you right now, they're a very explicit show, for warning, but they're not attacking anybody. They're just, they're having fun, right? They're having fun. No problem with that, right? Having fun. I think Philly versus everybody, and again, it's going to be a really, really good marriage. And I just talked to somebody today. I'm not going to say his name, but we're working on some things as well. So, Tyler, man, this is the time, bro. This is the time. This is the time when it's time to jump in, man. You got to be a part of this HRS thing, man. It's time to get involved.
People got to hop on now. They can say they were with us when we started small and working our way to the top. So, this flagship show, awesome. Congrats again. So happy for you guys. It's awesome listening to you guys at Pikes. It's going to be even better listening to you guys every Tuesday night now. So just awesome stuff all around.
There's a lot, and I will be honest, where this is next level. There's a lot of things that we haven't even happened yet. There's a lot behind this. Frank, listen, real funny story. I have no idea 2 months ago who Frank Ruby was. No clue. Never met the guy before in my life. Okay. And it's a true story. I've done live shows in the past, and I've set up a microphone next to me, and I've welcomed anybody to come up and join me. And every now and then you get somebody, they would come up, they maybe they weren't into it, and they were kind of shy and bad, and they were fun, right? It was just, they were a fan. Well, the first night that I did Pike's Pub, I met Frank. He was with a group of guys. He was playing Golden Tee, one of the best best arcade golf games ever for you nostalgic arcade game players. And he had mentioned, like, he was saying things and about like good things about sports. And I was like, he's like, I'm going to bring my notebook next week. Can I get on a mic? I said, yeah, man, no problem. I was like, that's what it's there for. So he came up the following week, like prepared with like friggin' 5 pages of notes. Found out that this guy was a former football coach. He had tryouts for the Expos, the Phillies, and somebody else, tours rotator cuff. So that's the only reason why. Went to broadcasting school. Life happened, never pursued it. And lo and behold, we hit it off. And I was like, yo, man, I've been looking for somebody for the longest time that's local, that lives by me, that we could travel around. And lo and behold, what happens? Boom, it works. And man, this dude has been an absolute blessing. We haven't even announced it yet, but I will tease it. We do have up to 8 sponsors already just for this specific show, all buying segments, which is cool. I got a ton of giveaways from people from shirt companies. Even we're going to be giving away Eagles tickets at times. A lot of stuff going on, man. So if you're in the Bucks County area, I will say this: you got to get out there, man. Both nights. This isn't a Tuesday thing, man. You got Pike's Pub that we're there every Monday, and we're going to be at the whole Richboro Pub. Seeing there's 5 of them. Within about a 10-mile radius that will be flipping back and forth. But Tyler, like I said to you, man, this isn't an I thing. It's a we thing, man. If it wasn't for people like Tyler, who on here every single day, putting the time in, putting the work in, getting the eyes. People, I saw my man Sean Selby checking in from Corner Pub Sports say, yo, I want to be a part of this. What can I do? Doing a show every Sunday for football, stepping outside his comfort zone a little bit, right? Just wrote a book. Shout out to him as well. And other people that just coming in, Dave Gleckner, my man, as always, just stepping up and doing things when he can. It's a combined effort, man. It's a combined effort, Tyler. It's going to be a lot of fun, bro. It's going to be a lot of fun.
It's always a team effort. It's even better to be a part of it. Again, I can't thank you enough for this opportunity. It's been awesome, and I really can't wait to see where it goes from here.
Hey, man, it's going big, bro. It's going big. It's going to have fun. And you know what? Here's the thing. I live day by day in my life, just like the Phillies do. Right. You saw the Phillies. They had the ebbs and flows. Like Thompson would always say, sometimes they were really good. Sometimes they were really bad. Listen, there's going to be shows that we do that suck ass. Is what it is. There are going to be shows that kill it, right? I've been to shows where I've had a packed house. I've been to shows where it's been absolutely dead. I don't know what the reason is. I don't take that to heart because that's what happens. Maybe it's a day after a weekend. Everybody's hungover from friggin' Sunday football and nobody wants to go out on Monday. Maybe it's just a bad weather day. Maybe nobody likes me that night. Maybe nobody wants to listen to sports. Who knows? You just keep going and going and going and shit happens. And that's what the Phillies been doing. They've been hearing us, Tyler, all year long. They've had their inconsistent parts, but for the most part, man, listen, Kyle Schwarber just killing the ball. Castellanos, you got it in the thing. MVP. I mean, can we say enough about Nick Castellanos, man? Nope. We just can't say it. I like no matter what, just from his moxie in the press conferences, from everything about, from the work ethic that he endures every single day, man. There's nobody like him. There's nobody like him, and I think look, see, Adam said he knows it was dead. Here's the thing, it was dead Monday, right? Sometimes Mondays are dead, and it's fine. But that's why we do a simulcast, right? So sometimes you get a big crowd, sometimes you don't get a big crowd. But sometimes I had people hit me up saying, yo, I couldn't come in, but I was watching it at home. We had Brian, I shout out to Brian, who had a little fun happy hour. Like wasn't even facing us when he was talking, slurring his words, having a good time, effing this, screw Sirianni, having a ball. But it was fun, man. I mean, it was a good time, man. It's just like being at Citizens Bank Park. You never know what you're going to get. You never know what kind of atmosphere it's going to be. But one thing's for sure, man. When we're winning, Tyler, we are swinging those rally towels.
Oh, my God. I can't wait. I was rewatching the Pikes episode. And
yeah, right.
When it came on, I was just dying laughing. And then Frank laughed. It just got me laughing even more. I was dying. I'm laughing now just thinking about it.
It was great, man. It was great.
You try not to laugh. You're breaking.
I was trying to be the political guy, man. I was like, I'm going to keep it. I'm going to keep it. Frank couldn't control himself, man. It was funny. We went to break and he was dying for about 5 minutes strong, man. So, but nah, man, it's fun. I'm so excited about Red October. I cannot wait. And just so everybody knows, we'll be doing the same thing. We'll be doing whether it's Tyler doing pre-games and post-games, whether it's myself doing pre-games. If it's a Tuesday night or if it's a Monday night, we're going to do it live like we did last Monday night. And well, I just talked to the managers too with some flexibility. So, if we do have, because Tyler, I think a lot of the playoff games, if they're not early, they're late. Like you get those weird 5 o'clock starts, and then sometimes you get the 8 o'clock starts, right? So we are going to flexibly and move the show around for Red October. So I've already talked to the managers about it. They want to know if we would be flexible. Said absolutely. So if it is a 5 o'clock game, we're going to have a pregame at 4, and we're going to do the show with a post game afterwards. We're going to go into overtime, man. That's what it's going to be. Adam says Big Nick is definitely – listen, I've been on the Nick for MVP wagon for the team, that is, not baseball, but for the team for the last 2.5, 3 months, man. Since May, the guy has just carried this team. He's been the one constant. Tyler, I didn't look at this, and I don't know if you did, but he never missed a game this year, right?
No, he's the Iron Man. He's played in every single game. That's why in these blowouts, Rob Thompson always pinch hits for him because he doesn't give him a day off. I don't know if it's Cassie just saying, I don't need a day off, just keep me in there, or I don't know. But, I mean, he's the best ability is availability. And when you're providing as well as Nick is, he's batting over 250. He's got 24 home runs. He's got close to 90 RBIs. I mean, what more could you ask for your number 5 hitter? So clear cut. I mean, obviously you have the Schwarbers and the Harpers, and Bohm had a really good year, but Nick Castellanos, the Phillies MVP.
And how much hate was Nick Castellanos getting? I remember a specific idiotic radio host that was calling for him to be benched. How can this guy be out there? This is ridiculous. We got to get rid of this guy. We're even about to trade this guy. Give me a break, man. See, that's the difference. People that don't know baseball and people that are just trying to get clicks, as opposed to people that actually want to talk about the game. And that's what I will say. That's one thing I try to pride myself on. There's been this. I don't know if you saw the Tyler, but I thought it was hilarious. But the other day, I'm a big Mikey Miss guy. I've always been a Mikey Miss guy. Whether you don't like him or not, you got to respect the guy. Just like Cataldi. Like I've always said, I hate Cataldi. Listen, whether you hate him or not, the dude's a legend because he stood the test of time. You know how hard it is to maintain an audience for 25 years? Like, it's not easy, right? And listen, Mikey Miss, I've done some things with Mikey Miss. He's not a bad guy at all. Everybody will say different stories, but when he came out and started talking about, I'm not going to say the names because I don't want to get in all that crap, but, certain people taking selfies in the locker room and being reporters and hosts, that's out of your league, bro. Like, you shouldn't be doing that, right? I mean, that you have to understand where, eventually you're not a fan anymore. If you're covering the team, yes, you're gonna, but if you are covering the team, you have a job. You're getting paid to do a job. You're not getting paid to take pictures of yourself in a locker room. I don't know who it was. I'm just saying. And I think that's the problem that we have in this society today is everybody's so worried about being an entertainer. You don't have to be a friggin' entertainer. Just know your shit. That's it. Know your shit. That's it. And guess what? If people don't want to listen to me for somebody who knows their stuff, they don't want to listen to Tyler because he could spit off statistics to you. And just because he's not wearing a mummer's outfit or he's jumping up and down like some friggin' idiot on Twitter and he's making all these memes and stuff like that, you know what? Then we don't want you. I don't want you. It's that simple because I want you to buy in to based on who we are and what we know, what we're about than what we act like. I think it's ridiculous. Adam says, I'm a big Rob Ellis guy. Listen, I love Robbie E. And I will tell you this, Adam, straight up, only guy. Okay, that's why I respect the hell of Rob. You don't have to do it. Not only does he like my post, but sends me a special text message saying how proud he was and congratulations, right? Not everybody does that. Rob's a straight up dude, man. He's a straight up dude, always been a straight up dude. And that's what I love about Rob. He's never changed, right? Bob Cooney's another guy, right? Bob Cooney's, he'll be back, right? He'll be back. He just can't say anything right now. He got did dirty, man. Bob got did dirty. You know why? Because Bob didn't play the game. Bob's a straight shooter. He didn't play the game. Because he didn't play the game, he was out. Anybody who doesn't play the game is out, right? That's the way it works. And if they're not, like Rob don't play the game, but Rob is so good at what he does. Tyler, I mean, they need Rob. They need Rob. That's why. But yeah, Rob's a good dude, man. He's the man.
Yeah, I'm a big Rob Ellis guy. I always love listening to him. Same thing with Bob Cooney. I was listening to it like right before he was, I don't know, got fired, released, cut, whatever. And I was like, wow, he's actually really good. I really like this guy. And then the news broke like a week later. I was like, what? I was just listening to him a week ago. But with Mikey Mitts, I thought you were going to talk about his beef with Philly sports suffer. I thought that's what you were going to talk about.
That one? That's
what
he
was talking about. This is when, I don't know if he was Mike was going after him first, or if sports suffer or something, but this kid's 19, same age, right around my age, calls in, and Mikey Miss he's like, you're neurotic, because like one day
recently.
Yeah, this was a couple of days ago. It was it was a Twitter beef, and then the kid called into the radio, and Mikey Miss was going after him, and then the kid was like, he's like, when the Phillies win, I love it when they win. I have concerns about the offense, so I voice my concerns when they lose. And then Mikey Miss is like, well, how could you say a month ago that you have concerns with this offense, but then now you're saying you love this team? He's like, you're neurotic. It was just a whole Twitter beef. It was pretty funny.
Yeah, this is the thing. I am actually surprised that, and listen, I guess because they were getting obliterated, meaning 97.5 was getting pounded in the ratings by 94.1, that they brought him back and they allowed him to be so free, because he is, I mean, I get it. I listen to him every day. I'm not gonna lie. I love listening to Mikey Miss, and he's very open. And he drops names, and he drops network names, and he talked about the Eskin saga. He talked about he is like legitimately just go. What he's like? Reminds me of Vic Fangio. I mean, like Vic Fangio right now, it's just be like, yeah, this guy's not playing. I don't care how much money he's making. He stinks. He's not playing. He's not trying. Like Mikey Miss, like, what do I got to lose? Like I've been doing this for how long? I got enough skin in the game, and I love it. I love that. Listen, again, you may not like him. You may not like him, but at least you know where he's coming from, man. You know where he's coming from. So, I just thought some of the stuff that happened recently I think it's a little staged, to be honest with you. I think, now all of a sudden you have, guys like Johnny Marks want to talk about it on, he's going to jump his ratings up on PHLY. Now you're going to have the Fanatic jump like, this is kind of what they do in this Twitter war, right? Like, let's beef it all up. And again, listen, yeah, it's good entertainment, but can we just watch some good old fashioned like sports talk, like where people actually talk about real players and real statistics, and they don't dress up like idiots. And I just, Tyler, you're a younger guy, man? Like what is the consensus, amongst the younger crowd? Like, do you feel like more people are like with the Matic Malloy or whatever his name is, acting like an idiot, doing shotguns in a parking lot, right? Like, who cares? Like, I don't know what that does for me, right? I don't know what that does for me. But like, what's the consensus of what they really want to listen to, man?
There's two sides of the spectrum. There's some people that just like the stats people, so just want someone that's gonna entertain you with knowledge and facts. And then there's another half of people my age that just want the fun people, doing what they do. So like you said, shotgun and beers, that appeals to a lot of people my age. So I mean, I'm down the middle. Like, I enjoy the best of both worlds. I'm not gonna tune myself out unless something's too stupid. But I mean, as long as I'm entertained, like me personally, if I'm entertained and I'm gaining something out of this, I'm a fan. So I'm down the middle with all that.
Yeah, and listen, and I respect you for saying that, man. Like, and my whole thing is, I don't want to build, there's a difference between a radio personality and a radio host, in my opinion. A personality is kind of like you being like an alter ego, right? Like, I'm going to sound like a complete hater here. I am, and I don't really care, because I do want to give a shout out to people that have brought the jigsaw back out. I was very good for too long, and I refuse to be good for that amount of time anymore. But it's like when you see the people, hey, go sign up, use my code at for DraftKings or this or that, and I say to myself, why? What what are you giving me any kind of betting expertise? Like, do you actually work in the betting field? No. So why? Like, I don't understand. Like, why wouldn't you as a consumer want to give that, because that's what it is, the affiliate code that they're getting money for. Why wouldn't you want to give that to people that actually work inside the industry, that bust their ass on it every day? Like, right? I never understood that part. Like, you have people that are literally putting pen to paper for 8 to 10 hours a day that have the same codes as the people that are jumping up and down, dancing in cars in a parking lot. And all of a sudden, but why do you want to give that to them? I don't understand. What are they bringing to you? Right? Like, I think that's where the society is so wrong, man. Like, it's so wrong. Listen, if that's not the way they make their living, fine. Right? But if that's the way they make their living, man, like, I think the support is ass backwards. That's all I'm saying.
Oh yeah, I definitely see where you're coming from, but I think they get it because I mean, DraftKings is probably hey, this person has views. Let's give them a code. That's I don't know how it works.
Right. You're right. That's exactly how it works. Right. But I'm saying to the consumer, the end consumer, like, I'm looking at that person right now and saying, why, like, not DraftKings, but like the consumer of that, why should you give them like, why? I don't understand. Give it to somebody who's doing it every single day, not somebody who's doing a read that probably doesn't even know how to place a freaking bet, probably doesn't even know what plus money is. They have no freaking idea, but you're allowing them to benefit off of you. Why? I don't understand. Right? I don't understand just because you like them. It's stupid to me. That's where this industry is tough. That's where this industry is tough. It really is. Adam says, that's why I like Tony, because he always gives you bets and props, helps you win money and to have fun. And that's the thing. I do, and that's where I think that I kind of draw a wedge in between both of them. I like to have some fun, right? But I do it for a living. Like, I do this every day, man. Like, I was up all night last night for the waiver wire. I was on VSiN talking about the waiver wire because it's the studying that I did, not because I went on a website and just plucked the freaking name and be like, oh, well, this guy's injured, and because this guy's injured, I'm going to start this guy. Like, come on, man. Like, I wish, and it's not just me, I just wish people would give more opportunities to the people who really deserve it. Okay. Meaning there's a lot, when I book guests for shows, I really like to book guests that maybe people haven't heard of yet because they're good. Why do I want to book the same person that's on every other show? Right? I'm not worried about because here's the thing. They're booking them people, and I'm sorry for getting on a rant, but this is what happens when people open up wounds, right? But I hate that, they're bringing those guys on. They could care less about them, honestly. All they want to do is get their following. So they figure, you know what? Maybe this, and I've been in these rooms. Oh, well, make sure that guy retweets our stuff and make sure he likes and he comments because we want to get his following onto our page. So basically, you don't give two shits about that guy. Zero. All you're doing is you're getting him as a power play, but then you get pissed off when that guy might say, yeah, I want to charge some money. You're like, wait, you want me to pay you? Yeah. You know why? Because he's built his ass for 10 years. He's built that following, and now he's just supposed to give that to you, right? That's how this industry works in the bad way sometimes. So, but again, shout out to everybody who doesn't do it that way. Listen, that's just me venting, man. That's just me venting, Tyler. I'm sorry. I'm venting. I got to stop. Let's get back to the Phillies. Let's get back on track. Red October. We talked about who they may play. But I want to talk about the rotation. I want to talk about, how we set the rotation up. And I want to see if you think the same thing that a lot of people are saying, to where, guess what? If you want to go right, left, right, I don't think Ranger is in your top 3, Tyler, right now. I can't believe I'm saying it, but I don't think you can put him in your top 3 right now because I'm scared, man. I'm legitimately scared.
I completely agree. He has not looked the same since coming off the IL. He's shown flashes, but as of late, he's been very inconsistent. You look at his pitch speed; it doesn't look all there. His location looks pretty good, but I mean, besides that, everything just doesn't look like Ranger Suarez. So what the Phillies have done in the bullpen is using him, or what they've done in the past for postseason. They've used him out of the bullpen. You saw he closed out that final NLCS game a couple years ago. So I am all for putting, but that's the thing. You put Ranger in the bullpen, come if they make the NLCS, who is going to be that fourth guy? It's not going to be Taijuan Walker. It's not going to be Colby Allard. So at that point, do you really risk putting him in the bullpen for one series just to get him back in the rotation for the next one or two? So I would love to use Ranger in the bullpen, but I just think, I mean, you see Turnbull, he's supposed to come back, but do you trust him as the starter? I mean, coming back from an injury where he missed a good majority of the year. So again, I would start Suarez in the bullpen for the divisional series and then championship series for that. He can be that game 4 starter if it gets to be that way.
I don't disagree at all. And I think that, looking at past history on the way they utilized Ranger before he became this, intimidating force, it was a guy that could come out of the bullpen. Remember, he started as a bullpen guy in the minors. He wasn't a starter. He was a bullpen guy. So it's a much easier for you to say, Ranger, listen, based on your experience, not because of how you've pitched recently, but based on your experience, we need to get like kind of like a hybrid guy that we can rely on in the bullpen. And right now, you're this guy. We don't want to put Sanchez in there because he's never come out of the bullpen, right? We want him to be the starter. And I think Ranger would be like, okay. Like whatever it takes to win, and I think that's your best. Then you listen after the next round, figure it out. Right, you go through the first round, see how it works. Right, I think you definitely have to do it. I just fear that Topper is going to have one of those, Topper moments when he's like, well, he's earned the right to be in no matter how he's pitched, he's earned the right. And I think there are the things I think that people, it's the love-hate relationship with Thompson, right? Because I get where he's coming from. He's a player's manager. I get it, but at the same time, he also has to get away from those analytics at times, and he has to just say, you know what, no matter what, I got to go with the best decision. And I don't think he does that at times, man.
No, I definitely think he kind of plays the analytical game a bit too much at times, but anytime I've criticized it, it usually pays off. But I mean, you look at the World Series Game 6, 2022. He pulls Zach Wheeler after 77 pitches because he wants the lefty-lefty matchup with Jose Alvarado and Yordan Alvarez. What happens? Wheeler's been shutting the team down the whole game. And Alvarado comes in and bam, Yordan 3-run home run pretty much ends the season. So I agree with what Adam said. Wheeler, Noah, Sanchez. I think that's what the rotation should be. But knowing Rob Thompson, I could see a world where Ranger Suarez is that game 3 starter in the divisional series.
And that's the thing. I mean, time will tell, right? Time will tell. But I do think that it's not going to be the decision that we want. It's just not. And you know what? At this point, I don't care. I just need it to work. Like we've been through this too much. This team is getting older. This team is as at the prime, spot to take it this year. Like, we witnessed so much in 2009 after we won in 08, in 2009, in 2010, in 2011. I don't want to go through that shit no more, man. Like, I don't. And I don't know how long that you can continue to go through it, right? How long is JT Realmuto going to be throwing strikes at the bag? How long is Nick Castellanos going to be an MVP caliber player for 6 months of a season, right? How long is guys like Zach Wheeler going to be pitching like the second coming of Roy Halladay, right? Like you really, I want to ask you something about that. I meant to bring it up. Looking at Zach, I am a huge, and I was a Zach Wheeler fan in the, when he was with the Mets. And when we signed him, I was so ecstatic. And I had a lot of people say I was crazy. And not just me, but there's a guy, I don't know if you ever heard his name. His name is Jake Brown. Does a lot of radio in the New York area. And I had Jake Brown on, and I had him as a guest. And I was like, honestly, I'm like, dude, explain to me, I'm overly excited for Wheeler. Like, and he said, look, you paid him too much. He's not durable. And I don't think he's going to live up to that contract. Right. So he was honest. Okay. Well, Jake A. Crow, 3 years later, where he IM'd me and was like, listen, I was wrong, man. Like, this is the Wheeler we always wanted. I just didn't think you were going to get him. And he's been able to really stay healthy. And I bring this up because a lot of people say Roy Halladay or Cliff Lee were the best, whether it be trade acquisition or free agent signing of the Philadelphia Phillies from a pitching standpoint. I say no. I say, I'm telling you, I'm going to go all in and say Zach Wheeler is hands down the best pitcher acquisition we have ever made in Philadelphia.
I'm you know me, I'm all about championships. So I look more to who gets the job done. I'm not discrediting Zach Wheeler at all. It's the same thing why I say Doug Peterson and Nick Foles are two of the best Eagles of all. I know it's a controversial thing, but you know what? Championships are what matters. I don't care if you suck in the regular season and you barely make it through it and you win the playoff, you win the championship. That's all that matters. That is all that matters. So Zach Wheeler comes through in the playoffs. So it's baseball is more of a team sport than anything. So I'm back and forth with it on baseball, but I can't make that statement just yet, although he has been incredible for the Phillies. 2.94 ERA, unbelievable. So definitely one of the best. And I think if the Phillies win the World Series with him, I think for sure he's going to be going down as the best free agent pitching signing in Phillies history. I 100% agree.
I see where you're going. I do. I honestly do. I look at the sustained success that he has given us, right? And gotten better with age. I'm going to say a name that's got, and people may, again, agree, disagree. Shout out to Tom Arnone, HD Radio for that. Agree to disagree. But I will say this, that, one guy one of my favorite pitchers of all time, who just got consistently better with age, was Greg Maddux. And I look at the same kind of repertoire, with Zach Wheeler, painting the black, painting the corners, getting the tail and fastball, but the thing is with Wheeler, Maddux was only topping out at like 92, 93. Wheeler's been throwing like 95 to 98. Man, like, he's throwing juice. He's getting stronger as the year goes on. And I think that is what really gets me excited, about. And I think, I think he knows that this extension that he signed is it for him. Like, he's going to walk away. Like, when he's done, he's done. Like, he's made it known that he's happy. He knows he's got X amount. And he said, even if he can still do it, he just wants to retire and live life. And if he continues down this, let me ask, should he be Cy Young this year? What's your opinion?
I think it's Chris Sale right now.
Okay.
But, Chris Sale was supposed to pitch tonight, but that's a whole fiasco that the MLB screwed up. They knew the hurricane was going to affect Georgia. So now what you're doing is forcing these two teams to go wherever I think the Mets are playing the Brewers. And then I don't know who the Braves are playing, Padres maybe. But you're forcing these two teams. Now they have 2 games off. They have 2 full days off until their next game. So you're making them go from Atlanta to wherever, back to Atlanta on Monday, the day before the postseason. So Diamondbacks could be out of it by this point because that's 2 games in one day. That's huge. So what they're doing now is a doubleheader on Monday. And then one of them has to fly out to the West Coast for a game on Tuesday, which is unbelievable. I'm not complaining because it's the Mets and the Braves. I can't stand either of them, and I hope they both get eliminated first. But uh, complete fiasco by the MLB. Shame on you. But right now it's Chris Sale, but he is. I mean, I don't know if I'm assuming that the Braves are going to save him for one of those games because he's been one of the best pitchers in the entire league this year. So I said if he has a bad game and Wheeler has a shutout game, 7 shutout, and he strikes out 8 to 9 against the Nationals on Saturday, I could see it being closer than people think. But right now it's Chris Sale, but there's still one game each. So I'm not putting all my chips on Chris Sale right now, even though he's been dominant. Zach Wheeler, unbelievable that anybody's even close to Chris Sale right now. He's been unbelievable this year, but Zach Wheeler, awesome. And he's right behind Chris Sale. So one bad start, that could change the whole narrative.
And I think that unfortunately for Wheeler, Chris Sale is going to get the sympathy vote. And what I mean by that, and I'm a Chris Sale guy. I came into this year saying, people, watch Chris Sale. If he can stay healthy, that's the key with him. If he can stay healthy, he's an absolute beast. And he stayed healthy this year. And I think Major League Baseball and the writers and everybody that votes for Cy Young, I think that he may get some sympathy because he's been hurt so much in his career that now at this age, he's been able to hold it all together and put up some ridiculous numbers. So listen, either way, Zach Wheeler, he's our Cy Young. He's our MVP of the pitching staff. One of the best, in my opinion, he is the best free agent pitching acquisition for the Phillies ever. Again, no disrespect to Doc Holliday, but, Wheeler is going to be here longer. No disrespect to Cliff Lee, but, guess what? As long as Zach Wheeler doesn't blow a game against the St. Louis Cardinals like Cliff Lee did, then I'm always going to be on a Zach Wheeler train. I think Cliff Lee gave us some great moments, but standing the test of time, Zach Wheeler to me is the dominant guy. So I think it's going to be close. We'll see what happens. If you're checking in, let us know. Do you think Zach Wheeler is the best free agent pitching acquisition ever for the Philadelphia Phillies? And should Ranger Suarez start in a bullpen? What should be the top 3 for the rotation going into Red October? We want to hear from you. Make sure you like, subscribe. Heat Ratio Sports. Make sure you're liking and subscribing to the station. And again, and the YouTube page. Hit the notification bell if you like to know when we go live. Adam says, didn't Moyer get better? Yes, but he did get better. He just didn't have that. Obviously, he topped out like 84, 83 on the fastball, but his command was, I'll tell you, man, his command was like no other. I mean, it really was. His command was like no other. Adam, as always, man, checking in. We appreciate it, as always, man. His command to be able to pitch, 84-mile-an-hour fastball and not give up meatballs to Major League Baseball hitters, Tyler, that was a huge, huge feat for Jamie Moyer.
Yeah, I mean, he's a guy that just stood the test of time. He pitched from 1986 all the way to 2012. And I mean, if you're pitching for that long, you're doing something right. So definitely an under the radar guy. I mean, this is what I've like. I hear, because I'm younger, so I hear these guys' names and I go and look at their stats. I'm like, well, it doesn't really look all that. And that's just because of how different the game was back then. Like back then, those were pretty good stats, like a 3.71 ERA. And like a high 4 ERA, that was considered decent back then because that's just how the game was. So Jamie Moyer, you pitched, I'll say it again, you pitch for that long, you're doing something right. And you win a World Series. So he does have that on his resume. He has an All-Star and a World Series. So what better of a career could you ask for?
Exactly. What better of a career should you ask for? This is coming in right now from Rob Thompson. Shout out John Foley from former from PHLY. And now I think he's on I think it's called On Patterson. I think it is. But Thompson saying this is the best Phillies team he's ever seen. He said, this is a really good team. Best team we've had since I've been here. He said, I think there's great balance as far as our offense is good. He said, when we don't chase, when we get the ball, we swing at strikes, use the entire field. Our offense is really good. Our rotation obviously is good. And we've got an extremely deep bullpen. So, I really love this club. I really do. And they're tough and resilient, and they prepare and they compete every day. And I trust them fully. So, that's straight from Topper. And I will say this, even though it's given us some nail biting moments from time to time, the bullpen is extremely deep, Tyler.
You got Matt Strahm. You have Jeff Hoffman. You have, at times, Jose Alvarado. Tanner Banks, guy that can go in and get you 2 innings. Jose Ruiz, he's still pretty decent. And then you have Carlos Estevez closing it out. He reminds me of an older Craig Kimbrell. Not a recent Craig Kimbrell, but a little bit of Kenley Jansen, where they close the game, but sometimes they just give you a heart attack while they do it. They get the job done, but they don't get it done easy. So that's what I've seen from Estevez with the Phillies so far. But I mean, this bullpen is deep. When you have 2 guys that made the All-Star team, and then you get Carlos Estevez at the trade deadline, and you have that bullpen filled out towards the end, you upgrade from Gregory Soto to Tanner Banks, and then you upgrade from Sir Anthony Dominguez to Carlos Estevez. I mean, that's still a really deep bullpen, and the best I've felt about how deep this bullpen is going into the postseason since 2022.
I like that. No, I agree. I completely agree. But man, I'm excited. And we're gonna end on this. John Kruk. God love John Kruk. He was on, they were interviewing him, another cut by John Foley. Shout out to John Foley because he's helped me on this show just by his Twitter timeline. He's cutting all these clips. They interview Kruk, and he's talking about our guy Castellanos. Is a great way to end the show. He says, so simple. Nick Castellanos battled his ass off to put up the numbers he put up. I mean, that's in the words, word for word from John Kruk, exactly what we're saying. Nick Castellanos, shout out Liam, shout out Nick. Listen, October is just starting to begin. Tyler, I can't wait to see what's ahead. Everybody for tuning in, for checking in, man. We appreciate it. We got 3 games this weekend. We'll see what happens, but we got to get that number 1 seed, man. Let's see if we can lock it up. We got to go into Washington, take care of business. So, final thoughts, Tyler. What we got going for this weekend? What do you think?
I think the Phillies win 2 of 3. I think they're going to drop one. I do still think they're going to get the number 2 seed, barring a Dodgers, get swept by the Padres, even though I don't see that happening. So I'm going to say the Phillies miss it by 1 game, unfortunately. But they will come out, and I think they're going to have a strong postseason. And no Taijuan Walker. No Taijuan Walker on this playoff roster. I don't even want him on the roster. Leave him off. Awful. He's awful.
Yeah, he was. And I listen, I will say this in closing that, yeah, he is brutal. But the personal attacks that people have on this guy, I mean, listen, this guy has he's taken all the punches. He hasn't not said he's not going to speak to media. He legitimately, you look at him, he looks lost. He looks like he's trying. He doesn't know. He doesn't understand what the hell's going on. Maybe this has never happened in his career. That doesn't mean you got to put him on the roster. I'm just saying, people, ease up, man. They ease up on it. Yeah, he stunk. He knows he stunk. Let it go. He will not be. Listen, if they didn't put him on the roster for the postseason last year, they're not putting him on this year. So everybody, just like Aaron Rodgers says, just relax. Just relax. Adam says, sweep the Nationals, get the number 1 seed. Adam, I'm with you, bro. They're sweeping this weekend series. We're going to get the number 1 seed. Everybody's going to be happy, man. And we're going to get that much closer to Broad Street. For Tyler, for Tony, for Heat Ratio Sports, make sure you're liking and subscribing. Get ready for what's ahead. Shout out October 1st, the first ever show in Bucks County at Richborough Pub. Make sure you get out there if you're in the area. We're going to have a blast. We got some guests lined up. We got some prizes lined up. It's going to be great, man. Listen, I've already had like 12 people telling me that they're coming, family members, friends. I'm expecting a full house at Richborough Pub on Tuesday night, October 1st, for the very first ever Catillo and Gruby show, flagship show of Heat Ratio Sports. Everybody have a fantastic evening. For Tony, for Tyler, for everybody, HRS family. Have a safe night. Have a good night, and we'll see you this weekend.